Innovation is commonplace inside of Call of Duty Zombies, but one thing that has changed quite drastically is the core gameplay loop that is based inside of the mode. Players have gone from specialized, unique features that were baked inside of an individual map to mechanics that are scattered across the entirety of the game. And so I brought my good friend Codename Pizza on to discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly with this system, and what we would do to change Call of Duty Zombies if we were in charge.
Well, thank you for your time. I'm just going to jump right into it if you're all right with it.
Absolutely, let's do it.
Yeah, so thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I know it's a little late for you over there in the UK. I want to get you to bed at a good time tonight. But the first thing I really want to ask before we kind of get into Zombies, BO6, how you're feeling about it, because I know there's a lot of indifference in the community. And Chopper was actually talking to me about one of your opinions the other day that I think we're going to agree on. That might be a little bit of a dissident take from the community. So I'm interested to get into that. But before we dive into all of that interesting stuff, I'm just curious, like, what happened inside of your YouTube journey? How did you get into zombies? What sparked your interest? Why did you try to pursue YouTube? And yeah, well, we'll start there.
I have a brilliant story for YouTube. So I started uploading in the grand old year of 2005.
Whoa.
Like as soon as YouTube dropped, I was on it. I was always really like tech savvy. And yeah, so 2005, I was 12 years old and I started uploading as soon as I heard about the website YouTube. And I was uploading just random clips of me and my friends and stuff. And then that led on to me realizing that I could then upload stuff that I was interested in as well. And at the time, and even now, like I went to university to do music production as well. But like at the time I was like remixing songs and making different remixes of all kind of hits at the time, and yeah, and then uploading them to YouTube, and the channel kind of started blowing up. In terms of like 2005 to 2009 YouTube, it was blowing up pretty big. Like I think I peaked to like 3.6 thousand subs on that channel, and that was like before, I think maybe 2008 that was. So at the time I was the 99th most subscribed person in the UK.
That's
on
wild.
YouTube. Yeah, kind of crazy, right? And that was, yeah, it was before adverts or anything were on YouTube. And it was, yeah, the infancy. And I remember specifically, because I think I've probably got the screenshot somewhere on a hard drive. But back in the day on YouTube, on everyone's channel, you would have badges if you did something like really good. And the badge over, and they lasted for like as long as that is active, like whatever thing you got the badge for is active. So I have a screenshot of over the left hand side. If you were in the top 100, you had a thing. So mine said 99th most subscribed in the UK. And then underneath that, it was like #1 most viewed video of today in the whole of the world. #1 most viewed video today, this whole month in the UK. Just crazy stuff. And that was just all from remixing songs. And then I had a couple of strikes, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna stop uploading to this channel. I'm just gonna kind of not do anything with this anymore, because it was a hobby and I wasn't being paid for it. And then I was like, okay, I want to start doing YouTube again in like 2012, and I was heavily into zombies since launch of World at War, because I was hugely into Call of Duty 4. And yeah, zombies kind of took over my life with World at War and Black Ops 1, massively into the storyline. And just before Black Ops 2 dropped, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go for this. I'm gonna make a channel dedicated to zombies, dedicated to the storyline, breaking down trailers. And I knew that I could do it and make it popular due to the fact that I've already been there with another channel. But I wanted to kind of start afresh and make sure that it is going to be my career. And it's really odd because so many people will go into YouTube and go, I'm doing this for fun. And everyone's advice would be like, #1 most advice that you can take is do it for fun. If it leads to something, there you go. But my goal straight off the bat was I need to make a channel with a username that will be clickable. It will be searchable. It will be very relatable. And yeah, I landed on Codename Pizza as that username because Codename was a cryptic kind of thing. And the storyline at the time was very hidden away, very cryptic. And then Pizza, because like I said, I wanted to really get into it and have it as my full-time job eventually. So I thought pizza is incredibly relatable, and I love pizza.
I do love pizza too, yes.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Codename Pizza was born right before the launch of Black Ops 2, and I covered all like the transit trailers and stuff like that.
Yeah. That is really wild. I can't. Okay, there's a couple things I got to touch on here. So first of all, I cannot believe how ahead of the curve you were with coming up with like a relatable name for your channel, thinking it could be a career. Like that's like what people are thinking about today, you know, and maybe that was happening in 2018 a little bit, but not really to the extent that it is now, where everybody's like, you know, Chopper and I were actually talking about this not too long ago, where he was saying, you know, everything is business hacks, and like they're trying to turn YouTube into a like its own algorithm of uploading content and having a thumbnail guy and 2 editors and a script writer and somebody's doing filming, and then you're just like churning out as much content as possible, which is fair. That's a fair model to go for, but it does take a little bit away from that authenticity. But you kind of knew from the onset that you wanted it to be relatable, authentic, but a business as well. Interesting.
Exactly. Yeah. It was kind of, I've never wanted to have, even though I have had a lot of like IRL jobs, I knew from very early on when I was a teenager that I didn't want to do anything like 9 to 5. Like I said, I've done so many 9 to 5 jobs, but that's just to get me to where I am now.
Sure.
But, yeah, I knew that I was never going to be that person. I could never really concentrate in school, and it was always about what's the easiest shortcut to be successful, kind of. So even in school, I was, you know, coming out with really good grades, but doing barely any work, barely any effort. It was just, you know, just figuring out a shortcut to be where I need to be. And yeah, so it was really odd how I just landed on the whole YouTube thing and having a channel that was successful straight off the bat. And just from that, it allowed me to understand that YouTube can be more than just fun. And at the time, you know, you were getting YouTubers coming out in like 2010, 2011, when I was starting to think, hey, I could do this thing again, but with something I love, which is Call of Duty. And you had like people like Ali A and T Martin, stuff like that. And they really like inspired me kind of to be like, okay, I can do this like very easily. And yeah, I think just with having that YouTube knowledge straight off the bat, it allowed me to do well. Now, I'm not saying I did not do well at all in 2012, but with that launch of Black Ops 2 going into 2013 and 2014, by the end of AEW's cycle, I think I was on 2,500 subs. So not great by any means, but still pretty decent. And then when BO3 came around, it was like, okay, this is like my last chance at doing this thing. It's always been a dream, and I think I can do it with Black Ops 3. And I think just everything kind of landed with that game and the type of content that I wanted to do at the time, and everything just perfectly hit. But yeah, it was a rockier road than I expected, because I kind of thought that it would be a bit of a cakewalk, and it wasn't, not at all.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people think about YouTube, right? They're like, oh my gosh, this is so easy. Like I could totally do this. You just get in front of a camera and talk, right? That's so easy. But it's like, yeah, sorry, Chief. It's actually pretty tough. And even just getting the camera on and talking. It's like, how are you entertaining? Are you articulate? Are you gonna mumble? Are you gonna have a planned conversation? Like, are you gonna be fun and engaging? It's like there's something you said, you know, like YouTube shouldn't just be a hobby, or it shouldn't just be fun, which I do agree with. But I think that you should at least enjoy what you're doing, right?
Oh,
like
100%.
Like if you're not gonna enjoy it, then you can't even turn it into something monetizable, which is. It's a pretty amazing thing that like this $1 billion, well, probably $1 trillion corporation now can like allows like an average Joe in their house to like turn whatever they want into a business. That's pretty amazing if you think about it.
Right. And now you're starting to see like creators come out that realistically, like you were saying there, where it's turned into this way more of a thing and it's all business orientated. Me and Chopper have touched on this quite a lot with a lot of like the shorts guys. Like basically anyone can now get an insane amount of growth off YouTube shorts. That in our mind, you know, that's YouTube are literally openly saying that, you know, it's hard to say because I know shorts people and I love them, but like that's why they've changed the gold plaque, because it's so easy nowadays to actually grow with the YouTube shorts content. But yeah, you are right. It takes a lot to make it into a business in terms of like being consistent, having that energy all the time, being able to actually, come up with unique and interesting ideas.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I said, Black Ops 3 was the birthplace of that for me. Because I think up until that point with the channel, I was doing what I wanted to do, which was storyline stuff. But realistically, there would have been other people doing it a million times better. And then I think like with Black Ops 3, making my own series and coming out with new ideas and being consistent with live streaming every day, that helped the progression of the channel so much. And yeah, I ended up where I was at the end of Black Ops 3, which was, well on the way to having what I have now and doing the life I have now as well, which is brilliant.
Yeah. No. Congrats on all that. Obviously, I mean, it's funny that you're saying you were doing storyline stuff, because it's not that I didn't consider you a storyline guy, but I never.
I'm not.
It's not like my go-to. Like, I obviously know you're knowledgeable about that information, but I don't like. I always think of Milo, I guess, as more of like the storyline guy or whatever, or Rad Austin or something like that. But with yours, it was like your content, it was always kind of like updates and obviously Myth Busting Monday for sure. And then,
of course,
and then Easter egg guides, like
yeah.
I can't remember if it was your channel. I think it was, who basically, was it World War II Zombies? You did guides during World War II, did you not?
I did do some, yeah. I did some, yeah.
Maybe I'm getting mixed up, because like there was a couple of you guys that I had to just completely crutch on for World War II, because like I just had no idea what was going on. So yeah, no, your content's always been great, man, and it's in the drought that happened from, I don't know, I guess after Black Ops 4 till today. It's like, it's just good to see you back in the mix and uploading regularly and bringing back Myth Busting Mondays and stuff like that, because it's been a weird time on YouTube for sure, especially with zombies. Yeah.
I think I'm luckier than some people in terms of what they can do and what they feel comfortable doing, due to the fact that, as soon as Black Ops 3 dropped, I was streaming every day. So in all the drought years that we've had without good zombies content, I could always stream every day. And even right now, I'm still streaming every single day. And I now very much just consider myself a full-time streamer, and I have done for a long time, even though with Black Ops 6 I started uploading again. But yeah, I love streaming. It's so much better. You know why I love it so much? And it's so simple. It's the fact that with Black Ops 3 and with Black Ops 4, I would be in my house. I'd be on my own, because before I had kids, my wife would go out to work, and then I'd be on my own, edit a video all day, and I'd speak to no one. And it's just the most lonely job.
It is.
And then, but then I realized, hey, dude, like, why am I doing this when I can stream every single day like I used to do during Black Ops 3 and go full time with streaming? And I get to be interactable every day. I get to smile constantly, where if you're editing behind a screen, you're just a weirdo if you're smiling to yourself. Like, I feel I'm just such a happier person by being a full-time streamer than I am making video content all the time.
That's interesting. Not to make this about me or anything, but like part of the reason why I don't really stream as much is because it takes a lot of energy out of me.
Oh, dude,
and
yeah,
I also just think like, oh, what if nobody comes? And then I like talk myself out of it. If you saw my like Google Calendar, it says like stream every day. And I just like, I just chicken out. I don't know. I think I just need to suck it up and just do it.
Bro, I think mine's the exact same, but for videos. It's like, make this video, and then it gets to like nearly the time it's supposed to release in this video, and I'm still streaming, and I've not made it yet.
Yeah,
like
fair enough.
Yeah, it's complete opposite with me. Like I love streaming, and since this year I started doing Twitch as well, and it just feels even better, because now I'm doing like 2-3 streams every day, and yeah, it's great.
Oh, so are you not streaming on YouTube as much? Because I genuinely... Okay.
I am still doing it, yeah. So every morning at the minute, like I think since the start of the year, so it's like coming up to 2 full months now, I will wake up at I'll get into my office for 9 a.m. and then I'll start streaming at like 9:30, 10 on Twitch for like 2.5 hours. And then I'll do a dual stream to YouTube and Twitch for like 5 hours, 6 hours. And then I'll potentially do another Twitch stream at night.
Okay.
Yeah, just a lot of streaming, but I'm loving it.
Yeah, I usually see you in the morning in the US. Like I'll be waking up and getting my day started, and there's just like one of your streams is on. That's usually when I see him, but I haven't seen him lately. So maybe Maybe I need to get my algorithm back on track.
Well, maybe you do. But like a lot of the time, I live stream every day. But since BO6 dropped, I was like, okay, I'm gonna start unlisting stuff that I don't achieve what I'm trying to do, just because of the algorithm changes. So yeah, if let's say for example, I don't like PB on like a speed run, I'll unlist it. Or if I don't finish all the maps, I'll unlist it. But if I achieve something that I'm proud of, I'll make sure that it remains public.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Fulfilling the actual goal of the video. Okay. Well, funnily enough, I actually went to school for audio engineering and tried to upload music on YouTube as well. And it just it's a hard knock life for the musicians. So
it's an odd one, man. You either are incredibly successful by doing barely anything, or just flop by actually putting loads of effort into it.
Yeah,
like,
it was tough.
Yeah, dude. What you have you been like megally into like making music and stuff?
Well, growing up, that was what I did. Like I was a musician. I learned how to play guitar, drums, bass, singing, audio production, did all of it. And I was like moved to LA to pursue a music career. And I interned at some record labels and played with some big bands and stuff. But eventually just got to a point where I was like, I don't have the energy to start a brand new project off the ground. And so that was it was around before Black Ops 4. Oddly enough, it was one of your streams that inspired me, because you said,
really?
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to remember this, but you said, if Black Ops 4 is going to be huge, like if you're trying to get into content creation, like this would be the time to do it. That was like one of your predictions, and I was like, I think he's right. And then I tried, and I went in and thinking, this is so easy, anybody can do it. I'm just playing video games, and I wasn't consistent with it. I tried to upload. I try. Oh, this is so cringe. I tried to copy Noah J's his username, like Noah J456. I think I was like Alex P234 or something. Like
I got you.
It was so cringe thinking back. Like I had no idea what I was doing. So now I kind of understand it a lot better, but still have a lot of room to grow.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I say that a lot. I'm always like, okay, yeah, if you want to do something, you can do it. I genuinely believe that anyone can make it on YouTube. Like, I think I'm the perfect example of that in some ways. Like, I think if I've done it, anyone can do it. And all it takes is like consistency, being unique, and showing your own personality. Because realistically, the main factor of your whole thing of being unique is yourself. You're the only person that's you. So allow your own personality to shine. And like you said there, like you tried to copy Noah's username. I did something really, really similar early on, and luckily didn't upload it. It was like really early on in the channel where I was like trying to like do like a PewDiePie style thing, and I never clicked upload on it. And I'm really happy I didn't, because like, yeah, I learned quite early on, luckily, that by being me, it's a lot better than pretending to be someone else.
Yeah, but I think the thing about discovering yourself on YouTube is you kind of almost have to start off being a little bit of a copycat, like figuring out what works. And then I think eventually, and maybe I'm just speaking anecdotally from my own experience, but because I was pulling inspirations, and I still do to an extent, you can't help it entirely. But now I'm at a point where I'm like, I know what I like, I know what I don't like. And so I just full on go for it. But it took me a lot of trial and error to get to that place.
Yeah, no, I fully agree with you. And I think there's people work in completely different ways. Like, I know that for me personally, my whole ethos now is I just do what I enjoy. And if I'm not enjoying what I'm doing, I just stop doing it. So like, yeah, you were right in the opening of this podcast where you said I was doing mythbusting, but I was uploading mythbusting consistently every week from the launch of Black Ops 6 up until like a month ago, where I'm like, I'm not actually enjoying editing this on a Monday every day. Like, I'd much prefer to be streaming. So I'm just having a little siesta from it, just having a break.
Yeah.
And it will flow back in, but I need to wait for the right moment again. But there's other people on YouTube, in our community that do really, really well, that have incredibly successful channels, but I know they're not enjoying like what they are doing as well. But they're doing it because, it's successful, which I get. It's incredible to grow that way, but I just need to be consistent and true to what I'm enjoying, because I think it shows to some extent as well. I think if I hated streaming, I think people watching would know that I wasn't enjoying it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think you see that burnout with quite a lot of streamers, actually. I think it's probably, you see it a lot more than video makers in that burnout category. But at the minute, I'm fully loving streaming.
Yeah. Awesome. No, I appreciate you going into that. I always like hearing people's stories and seeing what they think about YouTube, because there's a lot that goes into it behind the scenes. And, you know, it's something that I learned, like, as a commenter before I started making content. I would always be judgmental and snarky and like, why did you pronounce this word wrong, you idiot? And like, I would be that guy. And then I started making videos. I was like, oh my gosh, I was such a prick. Like, I really need to chill out. Like, I'm just a dude trying to upload content, and people are like sniping me from all different angles. And it's like, we're all just kind of people trying to make some videos, have some fun, share our experiences, our opinions, and just kind of relax a little bit, you know? But
exactly. But there is an actual person behind this camera you know, realistically, I don't want to be told that I'm an ugly bastard every single week on a live stream.
Oh, no, but, you're quite dashing. You're a quite dashing young man.
Dude, I feel like it since I hit my 30s, man. It's like I've peaked and now I'm in my 30s, and it's all downhill from here. But it was an up-road battle to hit 30, and now I feel okay. But but yeah, it's dude, I have not looked at any comments since the start of Black Ops 6, probably earlier. I have not even looked at analytics. I've not looked at anything. I have no idea any video view at all since the launch of Black Ops 6. And all I do is just look at my paycheck each month and go, okay, I can keep doing this. This is fine. And if it dips under a certain point, I'll be like, oh, I'll change what I'm doing. But yeah, I've not looked at anything. I hate it. It's so bad. I just don't. I can't look at comments anymore. And
they're depressing.
Yeah. They really are, man. They really are. And that's another reason why I like streaming, because 99% of the words that I don't like are banned. So yeah, you good to chill out and have a good time. And my mods are great too. Like they instantly wipe anything that I don't need to see. But even then, I've got that thing in my brain where it's like, this message has been deleted, and I have to scroll and have a look real quick while I'm still streaming to see what someone said. Just I can't not look at it.
Yeah, you just gotta have to know.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah.
All right. Well, this is actually, you kind of set us up for a good transition. So I want to ask a question about Myth Busting Mondays, and then this question is going to lead into what constitutes a good zombies mode from your perspective. So when I watch your Myth Busting Mondays compared to what was going on inside of BO6 to BO3, I've noticed that there's a lot of weird things that Treyarch has like patched, or I don't know what word you want to use, just maybe taken. They've smoothed things over that were not smoothed over in BO3, like stacking fire sales, or I don't know, like doing weird stuff with the killing time gobble gum. I know that was always, you know, it's kind of a meme. It's like one of your favorites, right? But inside of BO6, it's almost like they're not allowing for the mixing and matching of systems to overlap with one another, because it's like so tightly tuned.
Yeah, and realistically, Treyarch have kind of killed the series to some extent by doing that. They've over-smoothed the game.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that affects anyone. I feel like it might affect more people than just me for that video content. I feel it might affect the player as well, because there's not as much discovery, I guess. But in their eyes, that discovery shouldn't exist. But it is. I understand exactly what you're saying. Like BO3, I could basically pick apart the game. I could fully break it. I could use all types of gobble gums. And those type of myths are the myths that make the series successful and bring more attention to the game and make the game bigger. But in regards to Black Ops 6, I either have to have the mega myth of every episode be some crazy ass glitch that's been found that week, or we get no views because the title of the video would be like, does War Power Pack-a-Punch a war gun? Yeah, obviously it does. Like, it needs to have mystery about it if it can actually do it. And I realized very early on as well that with Black Ops 3, I could straight up, like, really BS in the title but people would still find it fascinating because there's still stuff inside of that episode that is crazy.
Yeah.
But with BO6, because there's not that much crazy stuff, I stopped like clickbaiting like proper fake stuff a long time ago. So like I'm talking years and years and years. So even though yes, you'll see a title inside of Black Ops 6 Mythbusting, which is like minigun, you literally essentially get a minigun inside of Zombies by doing the glitch that I show you at the end. But like, yeah, it's one of those. They've over smoothed the game and made it barely breakable. So and especially without any incredible gobble guns. Like Chopper was telling me he played through the campaign the other week, and realistically, inside of the campaign, fear in headlights exists as a thing that's inside of campaign, not as a gobble gun, but in terms of an effect that it has on campaign characters, I guess. And why is that not inside of the game right now? Wait, in Zombies? It's almost like they're saving everything that's going to break stuff until the end of the DLC cycle. But by that point, I can't really make episodes on it because the game's already kind of on the decline, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even simple stuff with gobblegums drives me crazy inside of BO6. Like, why can't I use wall-to-wall clearance and wall power to get like buffed armor? Like just
exactly,
stuff like that. Like even if it does something where it breaks the code or in the armor's like doesn't have a pack-a-punch camo, like I don't really care. But imagine getting like a extra 45% damage reduction because the gobblegum wasn't tuned properly. Like that stuff is just so fun.
Exactly. Like why couldn't they just allow wall power to go up to a tier 1 and get a tier 3 armor? Like why couldn't you do that? It's a rare gobblegum, right? No, people haven't got hundreds of them. Just allow it to have tier 3 armor for tier 1. Like there's so much stuff like that they could just implement and it'd be fun. And it would actually improve sales. You know what I mean? In terms of gobblegum sales.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, man. Honestly, I could pick their brains for hours. I remember before launch, I was going through so much stuff with them. And I was like, you need to do this, you need to do this. And I was like, can we please have killing time? And Kevin Drew was like, why do you even want it? And I'm like, okay, look, I have a series that's fully based on this. He's like, yeah, but why do you want killing time? Like, what? You just want to stop time in the map? I'm like, yes, obviously. He's like, look, he said, we've already had this conversation. The guy who makes the gobblegums does not want to go through the pain of making it again. He said it was an absolute incredibly difficult task to make it for Black Ops 3. And he said he doesn't want to do it again. I was like, right, can we please get it? And he's like, do you need everything to stop? I was like, no, that's the fun about it. We don't need everything to stop. It's fun investigating, seeing what doesn't stop inside of it. He was like, so we can still have birds in the sky flying around. I feel like looking back at that, he was talking about Citadel Day more, just straight there with the Raven.
Oh, yeah,
But yeah, and I was like, yeah. And he went, okay, I'll see what I can do. And we've still not seen it. So I don't know if it's coming to the game. But I wish it was already implemented early on, you know? And I could have utilized it in Mythbusting Mondays. But hey, if it comes in the next few months, I'm happy. But yeah, I fully agree with you, Mean. It's just too smooth of an experience. And dude, we saw them patch stuff from speedruns as well. Luckily, they reverted from that. But realistically, they would probably go and patch stuff from gobblegums. They will have done. Stuff that I've posted on Mythbusting already, they will have already gone and patched so much of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually, I don't want to say that I think BO6's gobblegums are the worst system ever. I don't think that's true, but they are not nearly as good as BO3, and even in the regular use of gameplay. One of the biggest things, and I don't know if you'll agree with this, but I think gobblegums, consumables, whatever they are in any game, are meant to essentially break the rules. So Zombies has a X amount of rules, whatever, like back in the day in BO3, it was 4 perks, and, you have to go to the Pack-a-Punch machine. Like there's a set established amount of rules, buying doors, getting points, and then gobblegums are like, oh, well, we're just going to allow you to break all of that. And in BO6, it's like you can kind of break the rules, but it's more like you're just getting to the end goal a little faster. Like getting a perkaholic in BO6 is cool, but I can just buy the perkaholic myself. So
exactly.
And if I don't buy the perkaholic, then I'm kind of ruining the curve of the game, which is kind of the whole point, is to like get overpowered and it's fun to get there. Whereas in BO3, you know, you get your 4 perks, but then you get an extra like 5 of them with the Perkaholic. So it was something you couldn't get. And I don't know. Does that make sense?
100%. BO3 was very much designed in the way that it was a trend at the time, wasn't it, in terms of having in-game content that was rare. So like on FIFA, like you would have Pele, and there'd be like one Pele out of like millions and millions and millions of users. And it was the same way with Black Ops 3, where it's like you're not supposed to have stacks and stacks and stacks of Perkaholic. I think I had like 2 before they released Liquid Divinium purchases in DE. Like it was a rare thing for you to go into a map and have an experience all perks active at once. Like you were only supposed to have 4. And I to be fair, as soon as Cold War dropped, I didn't like the fact that you had all perks. People will say I'm wrong. You know, people will say I'm wrong with that and say, you know, well, you don't have to buy them all. It's not the same, man. Like, obviously, if it's there, I'm going to clearly, it's designed around having all of them. I'm going to have all of them. But I remember having a conversation with Kevin Drew before BO6. And I was like, okay, if you're not going to revert that and you're going to still have full Perkaholic, at least allow the Wonder Fizz machine to not take away the personality of those perks. Because one thing I thought was missing from Cold War massively, it was the personality. Like, instead of just going over to the perk machine, you know, they were their own identity. They were basically characters in the old school zombies. A Juggernaut machine was, you know, basically a character.
Yeah.
And with Cold War, I just found it ridiculous watching everyone's gameplay, including myself as well, where you just go over to the Wonder Fizz, smash X like 8 times and you had all perks.
Yep.
And I said to him, can you just change that? Even if there's some kind of delay there, just so then it felt like there was more personality brought back into it. And he actually loved it. And he was like, yes, we can. And then it didn't.
Well,
it never went in.
They did have it so it spawns in later, which I think was a good call.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And because I said to them, you know, there's something special about learning where each perk is as well. It helps people learn the map as well. You know, if you look at those old Easter egg guides, it was like, you do this in the jug room. And that's because, you know, they learn the map via perks. But yeah, I mentioned so many different things when we were at Treyarch. Some made it in, some didn't. One of the other things that I said was, wouldn't it be cool if fire sales could reduce ammo buy? So you could just, if you got a fire sale, like fire sales aren't common, right? I mean, they are in the drop cycle after you move the mystery box, but you could run over and get ammo for 10 points just for 30 seconds. You know, it's nothing special, but it just means you get an ammo crate for 10 points. And that didn't make it in. And they said that was going in as well. But no.
Or that could be for wall-to-wall clearance. Like, they don't get discounted either. Yeah, it's just weird stuff like that I don't know. I don't know what it is. Like, I like BO6. I really do.
Me too.
But there's just some things that are just kind of off that I'm like, okay, why did you guys do that? And then all these little off things kind of stack up on one another. And well, I do want to get into what you think makes a good zombies mode. But since we're still talking about BO6, I'm mostly curious about like what maps are you enjoying? Because when you said Jug is a character, Quick Revive is a character, that's how I feel about the maps. Like I think you know, DE is a character compared to Shangri-La, compared to Moon, et cetera, et cetera. Some of these characters I hate, some of them I love. But in BO6, there are different. There's stuff that's different between them, but the gameplay experience ends up being mostly the same because of the gameplay mechanics that spread across the entirety of Black Ops 6. So,
agreed.
What maps are you preferring over others so far?
So, like I said, I did like 2 weeks of BO6 after the Tomb, and then I have been on a siesta of Black Ops 6. I have been solely streaming older stuff and being a very much varied, like, you know, playing everything under the sun, under Zombies arc since then. But in terms of my ranking of maps, it is quite different to most people's. I think the best map on BO6 is the Tomb. I do really, really rate it. And I think that's just the way that I play Zombies. I think it's incredibly replayable. I think the Easter egg is fast-paced. It's quick to learn. It's just very, very replayable. Now, I've not played it since they patched the boss fight, so I have no idea if it's really easy and therefore takes away some character away from it. I've not played it since, but I do think the Tomb is the best map. And then after that, I'd probably say Citadel, and then Terminus, and then Liberty Falls. But I like Liberty Falls, and I didn't expect Liberty Falls to be a map that I fell in love with. But I was playing that map a lot more than I expected, and I wasn't even camo grinding. I was just playing it because I enjoyed it.
Interesting.
Yeah, Citadel. I think Citadel was great, but it's like the swords felt like they were missing an upgrade.
Yeah, I agree.
It's almost like I'm not saying they were weak, because they weren't. It's like there were steps missing from the upgrade process of the swords themselves, and therefore the map was really short. When you look at like DE and Origins, you know, you had multiple steps to upgrade them instead of just like a singular. And I get that you had the incantations as well, so therefore there's an extra thing. But it just felt like you had one objective to upgrade it, instead of normally there'd be like a trial and a puzzle in terms of like DE and also Origins for their upgrade quests. But, I mean, you can look at other elemental maps like Voyage, where, you know, there was basically nothing to actually upgrade the Krakens. It's just build a kit and get the type of element. So maybe I'm, you know, thinking a bit too much about that. But I do think it's just Citadel's a little bit shorter than it should have been. And maybe the map's a bit smaller than it should have been as well. Considering it's a castle map, you don't see much of it, do you? Really?
No, you don't.
No. But Terminus, on the other hand, I like Terminus. Big fan. I did rank it lower than Citadel, but that's only because it's only got one wonder weapon. But I think Terminus is the main storyline map, in my opinion. It tells the most. But it also... I don't know, man. Like, I was getting really hyped. I was like, okay, Maya's coming to this island. We're going to discover a brother. Our brother's going to tell us a load of crazy secrets. And we're, you know, and it just felt like it was over with so quick. Like, basically, we got to the island, and after we had the wonder weapon, you have one step and then you kill the reason why she's there. Like, it's just like done. You kill her brother. Instantly gone. And that was the whole like build up of Black Ops 6, is like this woman that we've never seen before. And then we realize she's there because of her brother. Must have massive storyline implications. And then we just kill him straight away. It just fell flat for me a little bit in terms of that story there. And it started picking up for me with Chaos. And you're like, oh my goodness, right, okay, the Sentinel artifacts there, this is going to be huge. Like, next map, we're going to clearly find, like, the stone remains of, like, one of the Chaos characters after Medusa's looked at them. And we'll, like, go on some crazy tangent to try and, like, somehow get them back in there, back to life. And I just feel like they're kind of drip feeding the entire Chaos bit until the final DLC where all of our current characters die and the Chaos characters are there in the end of the cutscene, basically to show that, hey, we're going to be playing with you in the next Treyarch game. See you in 3 years.
Yeah.
That's the way I'm looking at it right now.
Well, I want to kind of take away some of your feelings of craziness, because you're gaslighting yourself, bro. I promise you, your intuition is correct. So
let's go.
The stuff I would switch Terminus and Citadel on your list. I think Terminus is better than Citadel, and then I would kind of go back and forth between the Tomb and Terminus depending on like what I like. I actually like the Tomb. I think that it makes no sense. I think it's weird. I don't understand why the Eye Staff is there. I don't understand what the point of Archibald is. I don't get any of the story implications. None of it makes any sense or is necessary at all. But it's fun. And the Easter egg has RNG for the first time, which we've seen in years. So like the fact that there is some classic Treyarch like kind of bleeding through in terms of the gameplay and the difficulty, I was like, finally. But yeah, it's just a weird map that story-wise, but in terms of Citadel, this is where I really wanted to kind of back you up here. Is I agree with you about all the swords and whatnot, but I think the real problem with it is, okay, fine, it has a simple puzzle and like a simple like 2-step process, but it's also the presentation of the information. Like, think about upgrading the bow lightning bow in DE, you shoot the weather vane, it slowly drops a broken arrow, which is, I just realized, is like broken arrow. Okay, whatever. Anyway, so you grab the broken arrow and then you go around the map and you shoot the whatever they're called, the bonfire things, and then you're adding lightning to them, you're wall running, and then once you finally upgrade the bow, it's like down by the pyramid, you're sucking the souls in. There's these beautiful sound effects. Sometimes the gravity will turn on and you're floating around. A panzer might come in, and then you finally complete it and you get like a breath of fresh air. You put the bow in, it shoots a beam of light up, and you're like, holy shit, that was so awesome. But in Citadel, you just kind of like the lightning one's probably the best, I would say, like because of the storm. But then you just set the sword in the thing and it just goes, and it's like over.
Yeah, and then it's just like a sword that's got like a yellow thing around it to indicate that you can pick it up. Is it the Warzone effect? Is that what's ruining it? Are we reverting to the chopper video here?
Partially. I think partially. I think I don't care that it's yellow. I care that it like didn't mean anything.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. Like, I think that you are 100% right in the presentation. There's not enough elements to go, whoa, what have I just done? Like, it's more like, okay, and then you pick it up and you're like, cool, this is upgraded now. Like, cool. Yeah, I fully agree with you. Absolutely. How do you feel? Like, what would you do differently?
I just would like there to be more of an emphasis on this is powerful. So for example, like, well, I'll give you two brief examples. So the first example is like, let's just say we're doing the lightning thing. So maybe or the lightning sword, and there's that storm swooping around. Like maybe you can't actually leave it and it confines you in to make it a little bit more difficult. And maybe instead of the sword getting lightning bits in it, zombies actually get struck by lightning and we have to hit them, and then we have to use the charge shot to power up the vase or the whatever
that's
thing
amazing.
is called. And then there's like obviously more storm effects and stuff. And then also for the tomb, this is something I've been working on in my review, is why wasn't the monocle an interactable piece? Because if you've noticed, you can't actually shoot the Roman numerals until you have the monocle. I don't know if anybody knows that, but you can't. And so I was like, wouldn't it have been sick if we shot the etheric lanterns and then we grab the monocle and then we can pull it out with like the left trigger or something, or maybe it's on the D-pad. And you can pull it up over your first person view to look around the room and you notice, oh, what's that? Like giving players a sense of discovery, a sense to use the tools in the map that make that map unique. Because think about the Gersh device on Moon. I know you love Moon. I hate Moon, but I know you love it.
I don't know, man. I'm edging towards hating it right now.
Oh, really? Oh, because you're doing a speed run, probably.
Yeah.
So you throw the frickin' Gersh device in the corner. It's like you're utilizing the tools in that map to get out of the map, to like solve I look at zombies kind of like an escape room a little bit. So it's like you're trying to solve the puzzle of the escape room to break free, and you're using your Gersh devices or your QEDs or the bow or whatever it is. Whereas in Black Ops 6, it's like there's all these pieces and parts, mainly just like a wonder weapon, and it's not really always utilized. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't, but they're just really relying on this damn crafting table and just all the homogenized gameplay systems across the game, which are fun during the live service, but going back to like Terminus, 5 years later, 6 years later, to have a unique experience compared to Citadel, like playing Moon versus Shang, those are night and day differences. Night and day. Whereas Terminus and Citadel, it's like, okay, there's going to be some differences, but they're mostly in just like the wonder weapons, because the core gameplay loop is going to be mostly universal.
Yeah, you are 100% right. And in regards to the monocle thing, I'm kind of, now that you brought that up, it makes complete sense. Like, we had a real issue when we were going for first in the world with that. Like, we got to the boss fight like an hour before anyone else. And that was because we did like half of the Easter egg without even realizing we've done it. Like, obviously, we picked up the monocle instantly. We found the symbols. We had no idea that you had to have the monocle to see the symbols.
Yeah.
And then Freckles is just running around firing the eye staff, and we somehow managed to shoot 3 of the things in 10 seconds and go to the next step. Then we see those symbols in the sky, shoot them, and then obviously we go into the boss fight. And obviously we couldn't finish the boss fight with our first in the world because we all had ray guns. But
oh, that's why you couldn't do it? I was wondering why that happened.
Yeah, but even then we were in the boss fight and no one could replicate what we had done. And then we had to go back into another game to try and get back to there.
Yeah.
And we couldn't get back to there because we had no idea what we did. Like, all the steps make barely any sense. And yeah, but the monocle thing would have been sick. Like, you bring it up and you can physically see around the map. And if they would have done that, there would have been a side quest to do with it as well.
Would have been
like
sick.
Some kind of cipher as well.
Yeah.
Like, dude, the fact that a game that was supposed to be inspired by original Call of Duty stuff with the likes of Scare Ritual, like a year ago, was doing stuff where you would hold a lantern out to see stuff around, and we didn't get that in an actual Call of Duty game in 2024 is mental. Like, you are 100% right. That monocle should have been a thing that you bring out to visually see stuff.
Yeah. And I just want to ask, anybody that's watching, like, I get a lot of pushback on this stuff because people are always like, you just are yearning for the old days. You just hate this new modern zombies thing. And it's like, no, I don't hate it. I think that Kevin Drude is really good at creating a gameplay loop. I think he is. He and his team have mastered that so well, but I think they have forgotten something that made Zombie special, which was the unique experience that each map brought to the table and the depth of secrets that went inside of it. And that's just kind of missing. And it's these games are great for the year that they're out, for the live service that they're out, but I don't really have a yearning to go back to Cold War and play D-Machine. Like, I just don't. I mean, every now and then I might load it up to get some footage, but I don't feel that same pull. Like, I don't know about you, but I straight up get a craving, like wanting pizza, no pun intended. Like, I get a craving to play Origins, and I'm just like, I have to play it. I need to. And then I'm good for a little while. But I don't really feel that with modern zombies. It's more like kind of just participating in the live service era that is Call of Duty.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. Like, I don't agree with Cold War. Like, I actually really rate Cold War, but I see that it's not the same as old. Like, it's not the same. And I say to everyone when they're like, dude, you're just going to pretend that you like the next game and then you stop playing it after a while. That's not the case. Like, I genuinely like modern day zombies, but it's not the same as like the old and stuff. Yeah. The older stuff is much better. I fully understand that. But I'm also very aware that the way that zombies is now will never change. Like, you are never going to get rid of the armor system inside of zombies. Like, that is there to stay forever now. Unless another dev team come along, you ain't getting rid of the armor system. You're never getting your shield back. Like, all these little things that we used to enjoy, they're just not going to come back ever. So you kind of need to either enjoy what we have now or just kind of stick to the old stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just more about living in the moment, I guess, and enjoying what we've got at the moment instead of looking back. Because, you can do this with everything, man. Like we were saying before, we're both into music, and you can say the same about artists.
Yeah,
sure. Like, when they've gone on to do a different genre, you're like, dude, I just really do not rate this new genre. I just prefer the old stuff they used to make. And that's absolutely fine. And there's nothing wrong with going back and listening to the old records and not listening to new stuff. But I know this dev team is like very much set in stone with this armor system and like everything else, and I feel like every map is gonna feel like this way that Zombies has felt since Cold War. And yeah, it'll change, like with the Gobblegum system and stuff. That's a massive add-on to Cold War. And they've definitely got the pack punch feeling better in terms of this game than Cold War had. And I actually think the armor system has it's better for some players. I personally prefer the Cold War one. I don't like plating up in zombies. I preferred Cold War where you just click a button on an armor plate on the floor and it would put it on for you. But I understand that. I think Chopper tried to explain it to me once why it's a better system, but I think that I much prefer the Cold War version if we have to have this armor system. But yeah, I've forgotten what we were talking about.
No, that's great. I mean, I just think that these systems are fine. Like, have armor, have plating, or whatever. Like, have these systems. But because you could say that about the shield, I suppose, right? Like, all right, well, in BO3, all you did was have a shield, or BO2 and Mob of the Dead, you just had a shield, and that's it. It didn't really do anything. But then it's like in BO3, they were like, okay, well, now your shield can shoot a fireball. Sick. Yeah. Okay, so why don't you make some frickin' armor that can, like, I do a quest and it turns into like an ice vest and it gives me Winter's Wail. Like, just add stuff that makes things cool. That's all I'm asking.
See, how good would that be, dude? That'd be so sick. And they've already got they've got it there. Because with the traps in Citadel where you stand on them and shoot and it kind of like fires out like the extra projectiles, you could have that on a suit of armor. Like you just literally walk around and it could like charge up. You click a button and then boom, it'll just start firing shots out. It'd be so good, man. And I don't know why we don't have stuff like the Gobble gun from BO3 with Burn Out. Burn Out could actually be part of the armor system now where you get hit and it's just a fireball that fires out. Like, so much cool stuff. Like, dude, we need to be in charge of zombies for like a week and just go bam, 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 loads of ideas. That has to go in the game. But yeah, you are right. It's those things that I feel like, everyone's always going to revert back to that Warzone problem. And I think I understand 100% that the new engine, ever since Warzone dropped, has made every other mode feel similar to each other.
I know, it's such a bummer.
Yeah, when back in the day, zombies did not feel like MP, and MP did not feel like campaign, and they all felt like different properties. I always said that anyone that complained about AW zombies, or anyone back in the no one complains about IW anymore, but back in the day when people used to complain about IW,
everybody
was always like.
Everyone did.
Dude, not everyone did. Not everyone.
Well, I mean, like, the community at large. Like, the sentiment was IW is just cheap BO3. Like, that was kind of the sentiment. I loved IW, personally.
It's my second favorite zombies mode.
It's great.
I love it. It goes BO3, IW, BO4.
Well, BO4 is technically number one. No, I love BO4. I'm a BO4
yeah, me too.
I was going to ask you about that, actually, but...
Really? What were you gonna say?
No, finish your thought. I interrupted. I was just.
You're all good. I was just gonna say, like, when people say to me, or people used to complain about AW or IW, the best way that I always say is, that's not Treyarch zombies. If you're complaining that that's not Treyarch, you need to stop complaining. Like, just take the word Call of Duty out of that game altogether. And don't think of it as a Call of Duty, and every single person that plays BO3 would be playing those games. Like, you would 100% pick if that IW Zombies was its own unique entity that wasn't Call of Duty, every single person would have been playing that whole year going, oh my god, it's so close to BO3. This is what we need. They're dropping maps every few months as well. Like, it'd be mental. Like, yeah. So I just think that maybe we're going through that stage now where you need to distance the game mode itself from the word Call of Duty and just be like, okay, this is a really, really good zombies game. And I understand that you need to compare and you need to say what is kind of bad to make things better. But I still think BO6 is really good.
It is.
In terms of a zombies game, yeah.
It is. It's just they're just missing a level of depth that the old Treyarch, well, I don't even know if you want to call it old Treyarch, new Treyarch, whatever. Just the initial devs that kind of built up zombies, that they just went about things a different way. Like where Kevin's whole, maybe I'm wrong, but this is what it feels like to me. His whole thing's like accessibility, making sure that the systems are all intertwining really well so that you can just kind of pick up and play and do whatever you want. And that requires a lot of depth in of itself, but I like the depth inside of the map, not inside of the menu. and that's kind of like my main sticking point. But here's the thing, and this is why I love BO4 so much, because I think they actually found the balance of that. Because think about Dead of the Night, right? Okay, and this isn't on every map, but it's on like Blood of the Dead, Dead of the Night, and even in Tagged or Toten a little bit. But you have your little loadout system. It's not great. It's not as good as the modern ones, but it's okay. You still feel like you're starting with a starting pistol and stuff like that. But Dead of the Night, despite having universal systems across every map, had the steak knife, and it had the Savage Impaler. So it actually had extra systems inside of the map that made it unique. So it's like, why not on Citadel des Morts? Why doesn't that map have a special grenade or a special extra weapon that's not like part of the marketing material, that's not part of the wonder weapons, to make things separate out a little bit more, just to give each map more of a unique reason to go back, a special gameplay mechanic outside of the wonder weapon and a reused AAT, enchantment or whatever the hell they're called. Like there just needs to be like an extra layer to it.
Agreed. Yeah, I mean, you could say that about so many different zombies maps. Even if you look back to 2012, BO2, like, Time Bomb on Unburied.
It's a great example.
The 1-inch punch on Origins, like all these things where it's like just fully exclusive to the map, but you also had a wonder weapon too. And like, do you know what's really annoying in this game is that BO6 marketing for launch was incredible.
It was.
And like everything was built up for Terminus, and Terminus was great. Like going into the map and realizing that, oh my goodness, dude, like a spider can turn into a flying enemy. The flying enemy can then turn into an actual zombie, which can turn into a mutant. And it just builds from there. But the fact that that system is so complex that they now have to ship every map with that system.
Yep.
And we no longer have like the BO1, BO2, BO3 special enemy types per map is kind of sad. Like we're now getting onto a map where I'm like, well, we're not going to get a special enemy really, are we? And if we do, we've still got that old system. And even with the tomb, like we got mimics again.
I know.
They made it unique because it's electric. And with Citadel, we got the Doppelgast. He's
all right.
It's a unique enemy, yeah, but I think when you look back, and I know it's difficult to come up with new ideas and stuff that's gonna absolutely bang, but looking back, even if you look at BO1, man, like Black Ops 1, obviously you had the Nova 6 crawlers, but then the Pentagon Thief, the Monkeys on Ascension, George Romero on Call of the Dead, you got the Screamer and the Flaming Zombie on Shang, and then you got the Astronaut on Moon. Like, that's insane.
It's a really good point.
We had the Avogadro on Transit, and we had the Warden on Mob of the Dead, and like I could keep on going. The Witch is on Buried, like the Panzer on Origins. Like I could keep going map by map all the way up until the point where you go, the creativity kind of started going down a little bit in terms of the fact that, and once again, I fully understand that it's way difficult to come up with new ideas all the time. And I think they've actually kind of nailed it with some of new perks that we've seen recently. Like Melee Macchiato is by no means incredible, but it's at least something new that's actually a bit creative. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I think in terms of enemies, they peaked with Terminus by having that system in place that they now have to implement on every single map.
Yeah. No, that's well said. That's well said. I know it's a little bit late for you, so I just have like two more quick sections, but just to
dude, I'm loving this.
Lead it. I really appreciate your time. I know it's like probably midnight over there or something close to it.
It's getting there, yeah. But I'm loving the conversation. Buddy.
No, I appreciate it. So I just curious, like, so you've said all this, you've laid everything out. We've had a really good back and forth. Like, what do you kind of want to see in the future? Like, what do you? Yeah,
it's a great question. So, like I said before, I really hope the crew that we're currently playing as fully die in the final DLC. I just want them all to die. No way of ever getting to play them again. And I actually like them. I like them as well. It's just the fact that I'm not connected to any of them. And I wish I was, but I genuinely could not care less about any of them, even though I like them. I just want them all to die. Chaos Crew come back. And like I said, it's kind of like, see you in 3 years. We've got a Chaos sequel. And it blow my mind. I'd be so happy. I mean, in terms of future zombies, I know this year we've had leaks of like Primus coming back, older Primus. And I feel like that era of zombies, if it's going to be brought back, it needs to be very much respected. They need to do it in a correct way and not just use Primus in terms of a way to, basically a cash cow. Like, it needs to be done to a level of authenticity and, what's the correct word here? I don't know. They're very much on a podium in our community, aren't they? And they need to be respected.
I agree.
And if they do it right, brilliant. I can't wait. That's going to be such a fun year to play as the Primus crew for an entire year, going on more adventures. But I think my question for you is should they be left alone? Should they be left on that pedestal and be praised for their time they gave us, or do you want them back as well?
I think they should be left alone. I think it's okay for them to be left alone. It's something that I go through personally. Like, one of my favorite shows is Dexter, and they're like bringing back, they did a reboot of it for season 9 a couple of years ago during COVID. Then they just did a prequel, and now there's another season coming out, and it's okay, but it's never going to capture that lightning in the bottle that it was at the time. And it's okay to remember things that you loved. It's okay.
I agree.
And so would I love to see them? Sure. But it's okay if they just are left alone and we move forward.
I agree. I think it's kind of a weirder subject because we've had so much of them and gone on such a massive journey with them emotionally as well, that, if they randomly turned around and went, this year is actually IW Zombies 2, I'd be over the moon because we've only got to play with them in 5 maps.
Yeah.
So I'd be like, wow, this is gonna be insane. So there's nothing wrong with bringing things back that I love, but it's kind of like, as long as they, like, I wouldn't even mind if they didn't do that right. I'd be excited just to play with them again. But in terms of Primus, yeah, it's a touchy subject, but with what you said, what do I want in the future? I do want them back. But I think in terms of this project that they're working on with BO6 right now, it probably will be connected some way in storyline to the game that comes out this year with Black Ops 2.5. But when I say the sequel of Black Ops 6, I mean whatever's in 3 years. And I just hope that it's Chaos Crew, like actual Chaos Crew. You can get rid of a couple of characters and interchange them with actual Alistair Rhodes if you want. I don't know. Like, but if we have Scarlet as a main protagonist, that'd be huge. Actually, another question to you is that, do you think that having operators kills the game, even though you have a set crew? Do you think that being able to then not play as that crew is then, like, they have their own unique quotes, don't they? But I still think it's weird. I just feel like there was something special about playing in Zombies and having just a set crew that is set.
Yeah, I think that it's a little bogged down now, but that's just simply because the whole goal is to sell the operators. Because think about World War II Zombies. You could earn all those characters, right? And that was completely acceptable. Cool, it worked fine. It didn't impede on the actual joy of playing as Marie and Jefferson, and I forget the other people's names. But it didn't really impede on that, right? But there is just so many operators. I mean, I used to actually try to grind to get enough, COD points or whatever currency in BO4 to get all the weapons and try to get as many bundles as I could. Because although there was a lot, it still felt kind of capped. I mean, dude, there's so many bundles at this point and so many operators. Like, I don't even care about any of them because there's too many. So
there's too many, and you can't earn them.
No,
if
at all.
You actually have to buy them. And I think there's something quite, with the older game, there was a huge issue with AW in terms of people saying that AW crates and BO3 crates were outrageous at the time. But I kind of liked the idea, like, now the way that the system we've got now, I prefer that system where you can play 3 multiplayer matches and then you get a crate, you open it up, you might get something incredible, you might not, but the chance that you could get something incredible for free is brilliant.
Yeah.
But we just don't have that anymore. The fact that things are purchase only is, I wish everything was able to be at least grinded for, you know? Like the same way that an augment can be unlocked.
Yeah.
You should be able to unlock. I should be able to go on right now and unlock the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle that I want by playing 150 hours of zombies.
Yeah. Yeah,
you know?
Something.
Yeah, exactly. Just something to aim for that you actually want instead of having to spend $20. Because realistically, a lot of the people that are playing the game can't have $20 to do that with. Back when I started playing Call of Duty, there's absolutely no way that I could have gone downstairs and gone, Mom, Dad, can I have $20 to buy this virtual skin?
I know.
They'd think I was mental. But like, yeah, there should be a way of earning absolutely everything in the game without money.
Well, and I struggle with this, and I'm curious to what you think. It's like there are things inside of the bundles that are way better artistically designed than like the actual rewards that you get. Like I think the Nebula camo is cool, but we saw that in BO4, and it's like, yeah, but does it like react or does it change color? It's like, well, kind of, but then you see that like demon bundle with the guitar and it has like the sick animation, or that new bundle that just came out with the like the dragon mouth thing on it, and it changes colors as you fire, and it's like, I guess I understand, like if they're going to charge for something, at least they better make it pretty sick, but have rewards in the game be that great as well. Like you got to have both, but Activision they have just Call of Duty right now, in my opinion, feels like a store with a game on it, as opposed to a game with a store in it. And I don't like that. I don't like that at all. It makes me feel slimy. It makes me not want to participate. And I don't even hate microtransactions. Like I'm fine buying stuff I like. I have no issue with that. I'm a grown ass man. I can, if I want something, I will buy
do what I want.
But it's like, how am I supposed to buy 4 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle skins, a demon, an angel, like all these cool things, but I have no way to earn anything? Like, where's the game? Where is the actual video game? So
yeah, and dude, like I'm sure you heard about this, but the bundle that came out with the tomb that you could buy, you know that inside of the files of the game, someone found out that it said Easter egg reward. So we were supposed to have that as the Easter egg reward.
I did not know that. That is scandalous.
So according to the leaker, that was apparently an Easter egg reward, all of those things, and then, you know, we just got one staff skin instead.
Why did they do that? I don't. It's so slimy. I don't like it at all.
Yeah, it made me feel a bit weird. Once again, that's coming from a leaker, so I don't actually know.
It might not be true.
Not the guy that figured that out. Yeah, but apparently, yeah.
Well, okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. So the last two sections of the podcast are called, I call it wrap-up questions and then lightning round. So the wrap-up questions are just quicker things. You just kind of, you know, you can get a sentence or two out, and then the lightning round is just like first thoughts, like your first gut punch reaction. So the first wrap-up question is, what zombies map, or maybe it's a mode, do you hate the most?
I mean, Vanguard in general. Duranfang was an absolute joke. A complete and utter joke. The fact that I got a t-shirt from Treyarch for going last year to go and visiting Treyarch, and they put Duranfang as one of their maps that they created on there, where it's got all the maps listed, is outrageous. Duranfang is a joke, but also if I have to go into the mainstream zombie maps, my least favorite map is Alpha Omega.
Whoa. Okay, that kind of hurts my heart a little bit.
Really?
Can you just give me a little bit of a reason why?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm an Easter egg player. I'm an Easter egg speedrunner. I think taking away the aspect of fun and gameplay loop to go over and type numbers in constantly to a keypad is really boring.
I can see that. That's fair.
I'm sure the map's better for high round players, and I'm sure it's better for people that don't mind that. But for my personal taste, I don't really rate it.
I think to do that over and over is pretty annoying, but to do it every now and then, I don't mind it.
That's okay. Yeah, I get you.
Okay, so you did kind of answer this already. It's like I was going to say, besides Treyarch, who is the best zombies developer? But I think you'd probably say Infinity Ward because you enjoy.
It's actually, I don't know, man. Like IW is my second favorite zombies, yeah. But I do have to say that. Okay. Let me break this down for you. I'm not gonna do a definitive answer, but I'm gonna break it down.
Okay.
Sledgehammer has the best cutscenes.
They do.
Like by far, in terms of CGI, it's incredible. The best cutscene ever in zombies, intro wise, is Origins. The best outro ever is either Blood of the Dead or Dead of the Night. Dead of the Night because I think you might like Dead of the Night. I like Dead of the Night a lot because the music slaps.
It's
like the music production is incredible on that ending cutscene. So as a music production standpoint, it's so good. But best super Easter egg, obviously IW. Second best zombies game, IW, and of course Mephistopheles is the best boss fight ever.
It's so good. Well,
yeah, dude.
Would you ever like to see Sledgehammer or IW, do zombies again, or do you just kind of want Treyarch to lead the helm?
No. We should get, in my opinion, dude, zombies every single year. We lived the dream, man. We lived the dream. 3-year dev cycle, zombies every single year by a different developer. BO3, IW, World War II.
That
should
was
have gone
the
back,
gold.
BO4. Like the 3 in a row, and you might not have liked World War II, but you've just had BO3 and IW before it. And then BO4, BO4 is coming out the year later. And then IW Zombies 2 would have been sick. Like, that's what I want. And so, yeah, absolutely. I'd love to see him do it again. Like, the difference is that the reason, there's so many bad things about certain games, why I understand why people don't like it. World War II Zombies was very much not designed properly in terms of co-op to a solo experience. The Darkest Shore boss fight is an absolute joke on solo. It's next to impossible, right? If you've beaten that solo Easter egg, well done. I've beaten that boss fight twice.
I've done it once, yeah.
And it's a nightmare. And it's just, it's not designed well for that aspect. But the more you learn about that game, the more you play it, the more you give it a chance, the more you learn about the backstory behind it, it is very good. And the unlockables in that game, it's actually really solid, and I'm kind of sad to say we didn't give it a chance, because I think it would have been, if it dropped now, I was streaming it yesterday, and I was saying to people, like, you might not have liked it at the time, but if this drops right now, I think all of these maps would bang.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
I think it fell off. No, I think it fell off during the Tortured Path. That's kind of what I got sick of it. I was like, all right. I mean, the first few maps were good. Groston House, Final Reich, Darkest Shore is weird, but Shadow Throne was really good. And then the Tortured Path, I was like, I don't really care for this. And then I didn't really get into Frozen Dawn that hard. I would like to go back.
I do have to say, man, I really, really want you to, because I love the Frozen Dawn.
Yeah.
I really do. I played it for like a couple of hours on launch and then never played it again for like 3 years.
Same.
And then I went back to it, streaming it, and I'm like, oh my God, this is great. It's got like 4 unique wonder weapons, all with special abilities that you can upgrade. The boss fight's incredible. Like, it's a very, very good map.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to definitely want to go back. I liked World War II. I just, like I said, I just got kind of Tortured Path out of it.
Yeah.
Okay. No, go ahead. You have another comment?
No, I was just going to say, so to answer your question, absolutely. I don't want it just to remain Treyarch only. I'd love to see more dev teams come on board. 100%.
Okay, before we move to the lightning round, what's your craziest or hottest take about the COD Zombies franchise?
Wow. The craziest take that I possibly have in terms of COD Zombies. I don't really know. I honestly, I can't think of a single thing off the top of my head. I'm gonna have to go down the route of, I wish there was a little bit more RNG. That's the only thing I can think of.
I agree. That's why the Tomb
just
worked
a tiny
out.
Bit.
Yeah, the Tomb has a little bit of RNG, and it makes it kind of, oh, this isn't the same experience every time. Even if it's just shooting a couple lanterns, it's just amazing how little small things like that can really change a map's experience.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing I can come up with really quick off the bat.
Okay. All right, now we're in the lightning round. If you really do have like a burning desire to justify a claim, that's totally cool. But I just want to get your quick gut reactions because I think it's funny. So lightning round. It's first question is, what's the most overrated zombies map of all time?
Mob of the Dead, even though I love it.
What's the most underrated zombies map of all time?
And Zetspawn Oshima.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Perk limit versus no perk limit.
Perk limit.
Shield
5. IW did it right.
They did. I agree with that. Shield versus armor.
Shield, always.
Double tap or rarity system.
Double tap.
Ooh, I hope it comes back in BO6. It seems like that's going to be...
I think it is. I think it is, yeah.
To follow up to that, what perk would you like to see back in BO6 or potentially a new idea that you have?
Widow's Wine. Instead of it being spiders, it's pepperonis that fly out and explode.
Favorite consumable system? Like Gobblegum's BO3, elixirs, Fate and Fortune
IW.
cards. Really?
Yeah. You get 5 when you load into the map. You're only allowed to use 1 once you fill it up with souls or energy. And then you've got to fill it up again after you've used it to use the next one. And then once you've used all 5 in your pack or even beforehand, you can restock them from the machine and you can only do it 3 times.
I am honestly surprised.
It makes high round experience way better. Instead of like on Black Ops 3 where you can just constantly go and get power vacuum constantly and go for the highest round possible. It means that you only get 15 cards maximum in a single game.
I got to admit, coming from you, especially with myth busting and stuff and doing the Gobblegum testing and whatnot.
Dude, I'm not saying myth busting works well with that game. I'm just saying that I think the consumable system is the best for that game.
No,
myth busting,
I agree.
absolutely Black Ops 3, but yeah.
I just thought you'd have a bias towards like the Gobble. I'm surprised. Okay, wow, bias.
I don't have biases, man. I'm very straight cut. Yeah.
I appreciate that. I appreciate about that about you. Okay, here is my favorite question of. Actually, I'm going to do it last. Sorry, we're close. We're getting close. So, should open world zombies come back? Either Outbreak or MWZ?
Not MWZ, Outbreak.
Okay. Now, here's my final question. This is my favorite one. You have to eliminate a COD Zombies era. Either Zelensky's, Blundell's, or Kevin's. Just wipe it from existence.
And they don't cross over. We're literally talking like Kevin starts at the start of Cold War. It doesn't matter that he worked on like World at War.
Yeah. I would just, like just superficially. I'd say like, World at War to like half of BO2 and then Mob through BO4 and then Cold War to today.
Yeah, I'd wipe Kevin's, but I feel pretty bad about it.
I think it's because Kevin's is not finished. It's like we can look back at Zelensky's or Blundell's and see the finished product, see what things are going for, because we've been through it. They've aged alongside of us. So
yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we did it, man. We got through the whole pod. And
oh, wow.
That's my favorite question because people either pick Zelensky or Kevin Drew. I've only had one Blundell person. And,
really?
And it's just interesting to hear, like, I don't know, kind of where people fall because.
Yeah, mine's very much connected to my content, though. I think that's what it is. Like, I've still got unfinished business with Black Ops 1. I'm like 47 seconds away from getting a sub 2 hours on all 4 Easter eggs on Black Ops 1. So I'm just need to get, I've got unfinished business with Black Ops 1.
That's wild.
So, yeah.
Well, I'll just tell you, I would eliminate Zelensky straight up.
Really?
Yeah, straight up.
Do you want to know what's quite funny? I think some of the implications we have in zombies now is because of Mr. Jason Blundell.
What do you mean?
So I love his era. I think his era is great. But Jason Blundell's ethos it feels like it was completely to delete everything Zelensky did. So when BO3 was so successful, BO4 could come into existence. And that was Jason's baby, where they've like spent millions and millions on the storyline, and it's going to be like the best experience ever. It's his experience. So what do? They get rid of Jug. We've never seen any of the perks from Black Ops 2 again from those maps that Zelensky did. You get rid of Speed Cola. You get rid of Double Tap. Like you get rid of everything that Zelensky ever did, and then you implement his own take on it. The only thing that survived was Quick Revive, and they changed how that even functions because they had like a revive system instead. So yeah, some of the implications that we have in Zombies now is because of Jason trying to get rid of everything from Zelensky. Or that's the way I view it. Even though I love Zelensky's era, Kevin's era, and obviously Jason's the most. But yeah.
That's a very interesting take. I never considered that before. Okay. I can see I can see that for sure. All right, man. Well, I really do appreciate your time, and it was great getting to know you and to talk about all this stuff. You're a very interesting person, so thank you for coming on the show. And all of you at home, don't forget to like and subscribe and all that YouTube stuff, and we will see you in the next episode.